Okay, so in our previous session, so we have seen how to work with the actions chains class, right? So how we can perform the mouse related operations and different type of mouse operations we have seen. And the same class, action chains class, we can use it for keyboard actions. Okay. Now I'll show you one example how we can perform keyboard actions by using actions chains class. So for that, I'm just taking one application. Okay, now this is my browser. Okay, this is an application I have. So in this, you can see two different boxes. So this is my first one, second one. And if I just look at here, there is already some values there. So when I click on this, the value is gone. Now I want to enter some value here. So let me pass some value here. Now the same value I want to copy into the second box. Okay, so second box, I don't have any value. The whatever value I provided in the first box, I just want to copy into the second box. And here just I want to use a keyboard action. So how we can use, so if you want to copy this manually, how we can do that through keyboard? First we need to select the text. How we can select the text? Control A, right? Control A. So let me just write all the actions because we are going to do practically. So control plus A. So what this will do, this will actually select the text. Control A is selected. And then what you will do, control C, that will copy the text. So I'll say control C. There's a next action. So I say control C, second action. Control C is a second action. Now, after performing the control C, then what you will do? We will click on the tab key. So when you click on the tab key, now our cursor will move to the second box. So when you press the tab key from your keyboard, our cursor will move to the second box. So what I have done next, we have pressed the tab key. Now currently we are in the second box. Now we need to paste the text. Whatever you copied from the first box, we need to just paste the text. How we can paste it? Control V, which is pasted the text. Now the next command is control plus V. Now we will try to execute these commands through automation script. Okay, so these are keyboard actions. So basically we will execute this command through keyboard, right? So when you do this action, but the same thing we will try to do through automation script. So how to click on control A, how to click on control C, how to perform tab action, control V. So we'll see this practically now, step by step. So first we have seen manually, right? We say control A. First we have enter some value, and by using send keys method, we can pass the value. Then we have to say control A, which will select the text, control C, which will copy the text, tab, which will navigate to the second box, then control V, which will copy the text in the second box. So this is a complete scenario. Okay, now let us try to automate these features. Go back to PyChamp and create a new directory, 22. Let's create a new Python file, keyboard actions. Okay, so first of all, let's copy these commands because we are going to execute the same commands one after another. Okay, so control A and then control C, tab, and control V. So these are the commands. So sequentially we have to execute. Now, so first of all, let us start with the basic stuff. So we will create Webdriver object, service object, and so on. So you can just look at here. Driver location is specified, driver instance we created, which will launch your browser. And I will also put some wait time. I say driver dot implicitly wait, driver dot implicitly wait, and I'll say 10 seconds for now, and then launch your application. So I say driver dot get and copy this URL and paste it over here. So this will launch our application. Then I'll try to maximize it. Driver dot maximize underscore window. So this will maximize the page. So now the first thing. So before executing all these commands, what we need to do is we need to first capture these two text boxes. Okay, we need to capture them. So how to capture it? So we can just use XPath to capture it. So when I inspect the first element, and you can see a tag name called text area. So if it is a small box, we can call it as an input box. And if the box is very larger and it is holding large data, so which is called as a text area box. And here, if I just look at, there is ID is available. So we can just use ID, or we can capture the XPath which contains ID and use this XPath to identify the first box. So how to identify this? Driver dot find element by dot XPath, specify that XPath. So this is the first element. I'll name it as input box 1. Input 1. And similarly, let's try to identify the second box and this XPath of the second box. And copy the same thing. This is second input box. And this is a XPath of the second input box. So now we captured input 1 and input 2. So 2 elements. So as a first step, what we need to enter some value into the first input box, right? So for that, what I will do is I will just add some value, input 1 dot send keys. And here I'll say welcome to Selenium. I'm just typing some code. Okay, welcome to Selenium. So this is a text I have given in the first input box. So once you provided this text, now we need to perform the actions. What are the actions? First, we need to control A. So control A means what? As soon as you enter the text, currently our cursor is focused only on the first input box. So first we need to send control A, which will select the text. Then control C, which will copy the same text in the buffer. Then tab key, which will navigate to the second input box. Control V will copy the same text in the second input box. So these are the keyboard actions which we need to perform now. So for that, what you need to do is we can create action chains class object first. Action chains. And when you create an object, we need to pass the driver. I'll name it as act. So now we created action chains class object. And by using this object, we will able to access at a number of methods by which we will able to perform the keyboard actions. Okay. Now the first one. What's the first action is? On the input 1 input box, what we need to do, we say control A we need to press. And what this will do, basically, this will select the text. Okay, on input box 1, we need to press control A, basically, which will select the text. So how we can press the control A? So to press the control A, normally, if you do manually, how we will do when I say control A, right? So I'm pressing control from my keyboard. And then A, control A, right? So 2 keys I'm pressing. And we need to say down, key down action. So control and A. So there are 2 keys we need to press from your keyboard. So act dot, there is a method called key down. So we are pressing control key down, right? So key down, which key we need to key down? We need to press control key first. So we say keys dot control. So what this command will do is this command basically will press the control key like this, key down action. And after that, what you will do, we will pass the A. So how we can pass the A? We have to write one more command. From the act itself, we have to use send keys method. And when you pass the alphabets, always use the send keys method. Now control A. So what this will do, these 2 statements will do, just it will press control A. Now you can just look at here. As soon as I press control A, my script got selected actually. So the same action we have done through statements, control A. But here we have just pressed control A. But after that, we have to release the keys. So control key we have to release. And even A key also we have to release. Control A, no, A we have not pressed anything. We have just passed the value. So we don't need to release this anything. Just send keys method will pass the value. But we already pressed control key here. We have to release the key, right? So for that, again, write one more command, act dot key up. And here again, specify the same key, keys dot control. And after completion of this action, act dot perform, because till here it will just create an action. And after that, we have to complete that action. So for that, we can use act dot perform. So this is a command which we have to use. So first we have to say control, press control key and then pass A, and which is basically control A. And after that, we have to release the control key, and to complete the action, we have to call perform method. So this is how we need to write the statements. Okay, so let me just combine the statements. If you want to write in the single line, let me just try to write a single line, act dot. Okay, what is the command? Let me just copy this. So instead of writing multiple acts, you can just write like this. That's it. Now we can just look at the single command. So action class object dot. First we need to press control key, then pass a, control a, then release the control key and perform the action or complete the action. So instead of writing multiple keys, we can just write a single statement like this. Okay. So this will perform the control a action. This statement will perform the control action. So instead of writing multiple statements, we can just write a single statement. So this is a control a action. Now, after that, what you will do, once you selected the text, we need to copy this by pressing control key action, control C action. So now on the same input box, we have to say control C. Now on the same input box, this time we have to say control C. So what this command will do, this will copy the text. This will copy the text. Now, first we will write the statements multiple lines and then we will combine into one statement. Then you will be able to understand clearly. So control C is the actual command. On which element we have to say control C? Input 1. Okay. So take act object dot control C. Control we have to press. So key down, same control key. How to access the control key? Key is dot control. And after that C. How to press C? Act dot send keys. And here say C. Now we press the control C. Then after that, what we need to release the control key. How to release the control key? Again, act dot key up, and which key? Key is a dot control key. So here we have pressed and here we released. Okay, done. So after that, we need to complete that action. For that, we need to say act dot perform. So this is how we need to write a statement. So now we can just combine all the statement into one single statement, because all methods we are accessing from single object. So we can combine this statement. How we can combine? Act dot. Again, let me write everything once again. And here you can just remove the act dot send keys dot key up dot perform. So this is a single statement. Now control C and release the control key and then perform the action. So this will perform the control C action, copy the text. So we can just comment this statement. Okay, so even this is also perfectly right. So it will work, but instead of writing multiple statement, I can combine one statement. So far what I have done, we have said we have done control A and control C on the input box, input 1 box. And once we have done this, what is the next action? We have control A and control C also we have done. And the next action is we need to move to the second box. By pressing tab key, we can move to the second box. Now the next thing is tab key we have to press. Press tab key to navigate to input 2 box, which is a second input box. Okay. Now how we can press the tab key? Simple. Act dot send keys. And here from the keys, we can directly access tab. Tab is there. So we can directly access the tab. So just press the tab key. That's it. Keys dot tab. You can just pass in the send keys method and immediately dot perform. So tab key we pressed, act dot perform. Okay, so instead of writing 2 statements, we can directly write 1 statement. Okay, so let me just comment this. 1 statement, act dot send keys dot act dot perform. So like this, we can simply write 1 single statement. So with this, what you have achieved, we press the tab key to navigate it to the input 2. And now in input 2 box, what we need to do here, we have to press control V. Control V we have to press like this. So how to press the control V? And that we need to press on the input box 2. So go to input box 2 and here we have to press control V, right? Which will basically paste the text which is copied from the input box 1. So how to press the control V? Again, act object dot key down keys dot control, right? So keys, just a moment, keys dot control. So this will press the control key from your keyboard. And after that, we have to type. So act dot send the keys. And here we pass V. So this will perform control V. Then we have to release a control key. How to release a control key? Act dot key up, and again keys dot control. So this will release a control key. And after that, we have to complete that action. So act dot perform, act dot perform. So these are the multiple statements we have written. So we can combine into one statement now. Okay, so now you can just write one statement, send keys and key up dot perform. So I commented multiple statement. I have written one single statement by using action object. Okay, so with this, we successfully done it. So first time we have said control A, and then in the second input box, control C, sorry, in the same input box, control C, then navigated to the second input box. And after that, we press control V. So which will copy the same text in the input box too. Now let us try to execute and see. It's taking some time to launch. Let it complete the action. Okay, now we can just look at this. So whatever value we have entered in the first box, the same text is copied into the second box. So only through keyboard actions, we have done this. Okay, so like this, we can just press the control keys from your keyboard. Instead of doing actions from the keyboard, sometimes we can do keyboard actions also through automation code. Okay, so even multiple lines also correct. So this will also work. If you just uncomment this, and I'm commenting the single line, I'm just uncommenting single lines, and here also I'll uncomment the single line. Okay, so now let us try the same action with the multiple lines. Execute. Just 3 to 4 methods are there. You can just remember. Send button, the key up. So these are the only 2 methods I can just remember. So this website is very slow, so it is getting delayed. Okay, now it is maximized, and then copy the same text into the second box. All right, so we have done how to perform we have seen how to perform the keyboard actions using actions class object, action chain class object. So instead of multiple lines, you can just write a single statement like this. Okay, so you can just practice this with single line and multiple lines, and then you will able to understand this. Okay, so this is how we can just perform the keyboard actions. So now let us move on to the next example. So most important scenario, how to download the files and how to upload the files. So first we'll see how to automate download file scenario. Okay, so how to automate how to download the file. So we need to automate this scenario. So normally how to do this manually, we will go to the application, click on the download button, and or we need to click on the link, and that will download the file. It can be Word file, or it can be PDF file, or it can be text file, or it can be image file, whatever it is, right? So now we will see how we can download the file in through automation. Okay. So for that, I'm just taking this application, and again, this download file scenario will be different from one browser to another browser. So it will not work in the same way in all the browsers, especially Firefox browser. And it is same almost in Chrome and Edge browsers, but Firefox browser, it will little bit different. Now, first of all, we will see manual scenario, and then we will see how we can do this through automation. So very important scenario. Let's focus on this. First of all, let me just open my application. So basically, I'm trying to download a document file. Okay, if I just look at here, there are multiple document files are there. So I want to download the first one. Okay, doc. So I just click on this one button, so it will automatically download the file. So let me just clear my downloads. Okay, so I don't have any downloads in my folder. So as soon as you click on the first link, so by default, the file will be downloaded where it is downloaded in my downloads location. These are default location. Okay. And here you don't have any such issue. As soon as you click on the link, it will automatically download the file. This is on the Chrome browser. Now let us move on to the Edge browser. I'm deleting the file and I'm trying to open my Edge browser. So I'm just open my Edge browser. Now you can just look at here. I'm just clicking on successfully downloaded the file. Okay, now you can see here. And this file is available in the same location. So by default, it is there in the download location. So previous file I already deleted. So now this is a new file which is downloaded from the Edge browser. So in Edge browser also it is straightforward. So we don't have any issue to download the file. As soon as you click on this link, file will be downloaded. Now let me show you on the Firefox browser. I'm opening my Firefox browser. And it is very slow. Just a moment. Okay, so now it is started opening. Okay, so now this is my Firefox browser. So I'm just trying to open this link directly and press enter. So as soon as you press enter on your Firefox browser, so now observe this carefully, what will happen. You can see some difference between other browsers and Firefox browser. It is still loading the application. Okay, so now it is very, very slow, guys. Okay, so just bear with me. Okay, so now you got the link here. So now I'm just pressing this link. In case of Chrome and Edge browser, we haven't seen any issue. This is straightforward. It's directly downloaded the file, right? So now this time I'm just deleting my file on my download section and click on this link. So now what happens, as soon as you click on the link, it is asking us to open the file or you want to save the file. It is giving multiple options, but we haven't seen this kind of window for Edge browser and Chrome browser. Okay, so that is the reason is this is not related to application. So this window is not related to application. If it is related to application, it should come on every browser, but it is not coming on Edge browser or Chrome browser. It is coming only on the Firefox browser, so that it is related to the, this window is basically given by the Firefox browser. Okay, so to download the file, we have to avoid this window. We have to close this window and we need to download the file. If I just close this window, the file will not be downloaded. But what we need to do now, we have to first of all avoid this window. We need to skip this window, and just like Edge and Chrome browser, we will straightforward, we will download the file by avoiding this window. So we need to do certain settings on the browser level, and those settings should be done through automation code. So that's the additional script we have to write for Firefox browser. But in case of Chrome and Edge browser, you don't have such type of problem. As soon as you click on the button, the file will be downloaded directly. No issues at all. But in case of Firefox browser, we need to add some other settings for the browser to avoid this window. Okay, so this is a difference. Now, first we will see Chrome and Edge browser, and then we will come back and see the Firefox browser, how to handle this. So now let's go back. And by default, all the files will be downloaded in the download section. right? By default, because in every browser you have configured the location, right? So if I just go to the Chrome browser, you can see where you can just define where you want to download the files. You can just go to the settings, and if I just come down and go to advanced, so here you can see here location is mentioned. So if you want to download the file in some other location, you can just change the location here. But this change is globally happen. So in every time whenever you use Chrome browser, these settings will be followed. But I don't want to change the settings here. I just want to download the files on my desired location. So by default, your code will be downloaded for files in this location only. By default, your automation script will also follow the same location. But in case, if you want to download the file in some different location, in that also you can configure through automation code. Okay. So now I'll show you all the steps. We will see one by one. So first, let us start with the Chrome browser. So I'm just creating a new file and I'll name it as file download. Okay, file download. So first of all, let us start with the Chrome browser. So here I'm just going to show you file download scenario on 3 different browsers. Okay, so for that, what I will do is I will just create 2 different functions, Java, 2 different Python functions. And suppose I want to use Chrome browser, then I will call one function. And if you want to use Firefox browser, then I'll call another function. Then if you want to use Edge browser, then I will call another function. Okay, so in these 3 functions, I will write the browser specific settings. So for example, I'm just writing one function here. I'll say def. So I hope you remember how to create a functions in Python, right? So same concept I'm using. I say def, and I'll name it as a Chrome setup. Okay, it's Chrome setup. How to create a function in Python? Just say colon. So here I will add all the steps which are required for Chrome browser. So for that, what you need to do first, we need to import required stuff before writing the functions. So import time module, Webdriver module, by and everything. So inside this, what I will do is I will add few settings inside the function. I'm just writing some piece of code. I'll just explain what exactly it is. You will be able to understand this. Very easy. So normally when you create a Chrome driver setup, what are all statements you will write normally? So you will just write only this one, right? We will import the service. We will specify the driver location, service object, and that object you will directly specify at the time of the launching browser. Only this much code you will create normally, right? Normally, when you want to set up the Chrome browser, first we will import this service and then specify the location. And then what you will do is you will just pass the service object in the driver that this will launch your browser, right? And then here, because I have written this code inside the Chrome underscore setup, so I will at the end of the function, I will return the driver instance. So all the settings I have done in the Chrome setup function, right? Now I just call the Chrome setup function that will execute all the statements, and that will also return the driver, right? Now what I will do is I will just invoke the Chrome setup method. How to call this function? I can just simply say Chrome setup. And what this will return? This will return the driver instance. Okay. Now I'll create one driver instance here because this will return the driver. So which is already imported service object, get the location, launching the browser, and return the driver instance. Okay. So now I'm referring the driver instance here, and Chrome setup, I'm calling the Chrome setup function. I'm just calling the Chrome setup function. Okay. So now after calling the Chrome setup function, what happens? So these statements will be executed. And then by using this driver, I will launch my application. So driver.get. And what is an application which we are going to use it here? I think I already closed. So let me open the application. I'll tell you why I have created the function, because this is the actual way we will follow in our project also. So that's the reason slowly I'm introducing functions and everything. So this is the URL which we need to launch. So go and open this URL inside the get method, and then I'll maximize this driver.maximize window. And then I just want to download the file, right? So go to the page and inspect this link. Okay. And go to the selector hub. You will get some XPath here. Copy this XPath and identify element driver.find element. by dot XPath, specify that XPath and dot click. That's it. Simple code I have written so far. So normally, if I don't create a function, right? So normally what you will do, we will have this code here itself directly. If I don't create a function like this. Previously, this is the approach we followed. So previously, this is the approach we followed, right? And we haven't called the Chrome setup. So this is the approach we followed earlier. But this time I want to use multiple browsers. Okay. So instead of commenting the code every time, so what I will do is I will just separate this code into a function. I'll create a separate function which contains this particular code. And whenever I call the function, this code will be executed. Okay. So that's the reason I put these three statements in the function. So I say def Chrome underscore setup. I'm just giving some name to this. You can give any name. So inside this, I will keep all the statements. So indentation is required, right? So I just say all the statements. But finally, this will, when I invoke this browser and perform the actions, we need a driver. But when you call the function, if it is not returning the driver, we cannot use this driver here. Outside of the function, we cannot use driver, right? Because this is a local variable of the Chrome setup. But what we need to do, we need to return the driver instance. So we will return the driver instance. So once you return this driver instance, we have to call the function and get the driver instance and continue the rest of the code. Now, how to call the function? Chrome setup. I'm calling the function and that will return the driver instance. So whatever driver instance is written, I'm storing in another variable. You can create my driver also like this, no issues. If you are confusing by using the same name, you can just give a different name like this. It is just an object. It's a variable. So whatever the value the Chrome setup method is or function is returning, that value we are storing into some variable. Okay. So I'm just using same name driver. So by using this driver, I can launch my browser, maximize it, perform the click. So which will automatically download the file. So I just keep those statements inside the function and then I invoke the function that will automatically set up everything and return the driver instance for us. Okay, so now go to the downloads. I don't have any files in my downloads as of now. Let me try to execute this code. Okay, now it is successfully downloaded the file here. You can see in the browser itself, and then go back and go to the downloads location. And now you can see the file here. Here you can see the file. So it is successfully downloaded. I don't have any issue with the Chrome browser. But now where exactly the file is downloading? So by default, it is downloading the downloads location. So here the file is downloaded. So this location is by default configured on the Chrome browser. If I just go back and see your Chrome browser done, if I just go back to the settings and here I already shown you, if I just come back, go to advanced. So here we configure the location. So our automation script also using the same location. So all files will be downloaded in the default location. But what is my requirement is I don't want to download in the default location. I want to download my file inside my project, inside my directory here, day22 directory. I want to download the file. That means I want to download the file in my desired location. Okay. So for that, I don't want to change the global setting here on the Chrome browser. I don't want to change it, but still I can do this configuration temporarily at the runtime so that your automation script will download your file in your desired location, whichever path you specified. In that path, your file will be downloaded. Okay. So how we can download? So for that, we need to add a few more settings at the Chrome browser. So at the time of launching my browser, and we need to add few more settings. So what are the settings? And here, before creating the driver and everything, so after creating the service object, here you need to add a few more statements. So what are the statements? Let's create one variable called preferences. You can give any name. This is basically a dictionary type of variable you have to create first. So what are all settings you want to apply to the browser? We will keep all the settings in the dictionary object, and that dictionary object we will specify or we will pass that at the time of launching the browser, so that all the settings will be applicable for the browser at the runtime. So now we will define some preferences. What are the preferences I can define? If you want to download the file in your desired location, you have to create one dictionary object, Inside this, dictionary means what? In Python, dictionary means what? Which will allow us to store key and value pair, right? So this is a key. So this is a key and this is a value. So what is this location? Your desired location. So here I'll put in the double quotation. So where you want to download the file in day 22, you want to download the file. Right click and copy the location. I'd say copy path. And basically this is a path. Okay. Copy this path and specify the path. Okay. Now what happens? This is a parameter we have to pass. Download.default_ directory is, this is a default directory in which I want to download the file. Suppose you don't want to hard code this path. Okay. I want to dynamically get the location of your current directory where you want to work. So for that, what I will do is, instead of specifying the whole path, what I will do is I will use one command here. So what is the command? So here itself, I will use, before starting the function itself, I will use something called, I'll import one module called import OS module. Okay. In this module, we have a function called OS dot get current working directory. So get CWD. So what this command will do, this particular function from the OS module will return the current working directory, in which directory currently we are working. That current directory working path or location will be returned. That means, so whatever he hard coded the entire path, the same path is written by this command dynamically. Okay. So that I can store in a variable called location. And now I will pass this location here directly. Okay. Instead of hard coding the entire path, I can just get the path dynamically into a variable, and that a variable I can specify. Now this is a key and this is a value. So how to store the data in the dictionary in Python? So in the curly brackets are representing the dictionary. Dictionary means what? The data will be stored in the key and value pair. So currently we have only one key which contains one value. So this is a default key, download.default_ directory, and the location on which you want to download the file. So this is a first step you have to do. And the second step, so as soon as you created some preference, if you have a multiple things, sometimes you will have multiple preferences also. Currently, we don't need all the preferences. Just to download the file in your desired location, we need to have only one preference. So that I have added. And the next step is, what we need to do is we need to call Chrome options class from the Webdriver module. Webdriver dot, there is a option called Chrome options. Chrome options. And for this, we have to create one variable called options. I'm just giving one variable called options. Okay, so Chrome options class we need to create. And this Chrome options class object I created here. OPS is an object of Chrome options class, and Chrome options class is available again in the Webdriver module. Now, using this object, we will able to access one method, that is add experimental option. Add experimental option. And here also we have to pass a key and a value pair. So what is the key here? In the double quotation, we have to say something called prefs. This is also fixed keyword, predefined keyword. Prefs is representing the preferences. And what are the preferences we have defined earlier? We have defined these preferences in this variable. So that is a variable we have to pass it here. Okay, that's a variable we have to pass. This is the second step. The first step, we have defined the preferences where we specify the location. In the second step, we created a Chrome options class object. And through that object, we have access to one method called add experimental option. Inside this, we have a predefined method, predefined parameter called prefs. And the value of the pref is preferences. Whatever we prepared here, that preferences we have to attach to the Chrome options. And now finally, this options object we have to pass along with the service object. How to pass? Separate comma options equal to options, OPS. So to download the file in the desired location, we have to write these three statements additionally. And don't forget to pass this options object here. If you forget to pass these options, what happens? These settings will not applicable for your browser. Still your file will be downloaded on the default location. Okay, so don't forget this. So this is how we need to write some additional code to download the file in the desired location. So I will also write some comment here. Download file in desired location. So if you want to do this activity, then only you have to add these settings, these three settings. And finally, don't forget to specify this options object inside this webdriver.chrome. Along with the service object, we should also specify this object. Okay, so this is the implementation part. Now the whole thing is implemented. Now let us execute the script. Now this time it should download the file in our directory itself. Instead of downloading the desired location, this time the file will be downloaded in your desired location, which is day 22. And where we mentioned that location, we no need to mention. So this command we use, right? os.get working directory. So this particular command will get the current directory location and store that in a location variable. And that is a variable I am referring here. So that automatically the file will be downloaded in our day 22 folder. Now currently in the downloads, the file is available. I'm also deleting this file. So I don't have anything in the downloads default location. Now let us try to execute now. Okay, now it is downloaded. So now let us look at where it is downloaded and go to your PyChamp again. So refresh your file. You can just look at here. The file is successfully downloaded here. And if you want to see in the Explorer, you can just copy and you can just open in the Explorer. How to open it? So I think we should have some option here to open in the Explorer directly. Copy or reference, open in Explorer. Okay, so if I just use this option, it will automatically go to that location and it will show you the folder and you can see the file here. Okay, so now this is how we can download the file in the desired location. For that, we need to add these preferences for the Chrome browser. So this is all one function. Okay, so this is all one function. So this is all one function. So whenever you call this function, what happens? All these settings will be applicable for the driver or browser. And finally, we returning the driver. And that driver instance I'm using in our automation script. But how to invoke this function? Like this. You have just call the function, store whatever return the driver is written, store the driver in a variable, and rest of the code will be continued. So this is actual automation code. This is actual automation code to download the file. Okay. Now, if I see, let's look at the Edge browser, how we can download the file in the Edge browser. Okay. Now, what I will do is I will just copy the same function and slightly modify with the Edge browser. Let us still have this function, no problem. So when you call the function, then only these things will be executed. Otherwise, no problem. So now I will just change this function like edge_setup. Now, according to the Edge, we need to change everything here. So here, Selenium WebDriver, instead of Chrome.service, we have to say Edge.service. And here also, we have to specify the Edge driver path, right? So let me just put the Edge driver path here. Okay, I copied the Edge driver path. And the preference is also exactly the same. And OPS equal web, instead of Chrome options, we have to say Edge options. And oops, add experimental option. This is also same. Everything is same. Nothing is changed. So here instead of Chrome, we just say Edge. Done. So same thing. Nothing is different from Chrome or Edge. Okay. The few things, the few class names are got changed. That's the only difference. So here you have to get the service from the Edge.service and location is got changed. This is Edge driver. And then here instead of Chrome options, we use Edge options. And here instead of Chrome, we use Edge and everything is same. Now I want to download the file on the Edge browser. So now we need to call the second function. How to call? Edge_setup method I want to call. Edge_setup function I want to call. And this will also return the driver instance. So previously when I call this, the Chrome settings are executed. Now this time I'm calling Edge setup. So now this function will be invoked and this driver will be returned. That is basically referring to the Edge browser. Now rest of the code will be executed on the Edge browser. Now let us look at. So I'm just deleting the file. And again, if you don't specify these statements, okay, then by default, the file will be downloaded on the default location because we already specify these statements. So we will expect the file to be downloaded in the day 22 folder itself. Now I have deleted the file from day 22. Let's execute the code. on Edge browser. Right click, run as file download. Okay, now we can just look at this. The file is successfully downloaded. Now we can just close this Edge browser and go back. And now you can see day 22, you can see another file called doc file. You cannot open the file in the PyCharm, but you can just go to a directory and copy. You can just open in Explorer, and that will open the folder. And if I just go inside the folder, you can see the document file. Okay, so this is how we can just download the file using Edge browser. So settings are exactly the same. So now that's the reason I'm just creating the different functions here. So whichever browser you want to use, you can just call the function and get the driver and use that driver instance for the rest of the code. Okay, now let us see for Firefox browser. So Firefox browser is something different. Okay, so in the Firefox browser, we cannot use all these settings. So there are different type of settings are there for Firefox browser. So it's altogether different. And one more thing is in Firefox browser, we are getting that window, right? Save or open the file. So we should also able to handle that window. That's the most important thing. So let me show you once again. So when I open this link, but in the Chrome browser and Edge browser, we don't have any problem. It is directly downloaded the file. But when you're working with the Firefox browser, so it is giving the window. So we need to avoid the window, and the settings level, we have to skip that window. And as soon as you click on this, we should avoid this window, but file also should be downloaded. That's our expected. So for this, to avoid the window, we need to write additional settings for Firefox browser. Now let me show you what are the other settings are required for Firefox browser. So here I will create another function. So these settings will be different from one browser to another browser. Okay. So, but few things are same. I will just copy this one and I will name it as Firefox. Okay. And what are the things are same here? Instead of Edge, you can simply say Firefox. For Firefox.service, we have imported this service. And here the location also, Firefox browser location, Gecko driver location we have to pass. So that I'm passing here. This is a Gecko driver location. Okay, so download files in the desired location. So these things won't work. I'm just removing this code because Firefox, we need to use some other different methods. And this piece of code we know already. So we have just got the service. We specified the location of Gecko driver. This service object we specified. You can just remove this option. These are default settings we have done so far. Earlier also we have seen this. For Firefox browser, we have imported this service, specify the location of Gecko driver, right? And then create the Edge driver object and store into the driver, and driver is returned. So now when I call the function here, instead of these two, I'm just calling the driver equal to Firefox Setup. So now what happens, this function will invoke this Firefox Setup function and which will return the driver. And with this driver, I'm proceeding with the rest of the code. Okay, now see the problem with the Firefox browser. So I have not applied any additional settings, just a plain code I have created. Okay, some error is gone. What is an error? Okay, so unable to find matching set of capabilities. Okay, so let me just cross check once again. So here service we imported and we got the service object. This is also fine. And after service object we created, so Webdriver. So here we have not changed actually. So this is a Firefox, right? This is a Firefox. Okay, now let me execute one more time. Same automation code, but this time we are calling Firefox Setup function. Okay, so this is my Firefox browser, which is launched, and open the application URL and then maximize the window. Now we can see as soon as the button is clicked, this window is appear. It is not skipped actually. So to skip this window and also download the file, we need to add some additional settings. Now we will see what are the additional settings which we need to add for the Firefox browser, because whatever settings we already added to the Edge and Chrome browser, these preferences, these options will not work for the Firefox browser. So we need to add some additional functions. Now let me show you what are other settings which we need to add. So those settings we have to add before creating the driver itself. So let me just create some additional settings here. The first settings is we need to create an object of Firefox options class. So here we have a Chrome options, right? Edge options, Chrome options is there. Similarly, we will have Firefox options class. How to access? Webdriver dot Firefox action, Webdriver dot Firefox options. Firefox options. For this, we need to create an object called OPS options. And by using this options object, we have to use one method called set preference. So this is a method actually we have to use to add all the preferences to the Firefox browser. But in earlier for Edge browser and Chrome browser, how we have added preferences? We just created one dictionary variable. In this we had preferences, and that preferences we have passed again in the options, and then we have passed inside the driver. Okay, but this time we have to create a Firefox options class directly object, and we can add all the preferences directly into this options object. So what are the preferences? Not only single preference, we have to add multiple preferences. So what are the preferences? So whenever you download the PDF file or Word document or a text file, whatever file it can be, the first thing is we have to specify the MIME type, something called MIME type, MIME. So I'll tell you what is the MIME type it is. So here the preference is also in the key and value pair. So that I can specify here. Now browser.helperapps.neverasked.saved is. And what does this mean actually? So browser.helperapps.neverasked.saved is. So whenever you're trying to download the file, it is giving one window, and in that window it is asking for save to disk, right? And this is message exactly representing that. And whenever the save to disk, whenever it is asking for saving the file, and if it is an MS Word document, okay, this is a one preference actually. So this for this preference, this is the value we have to specify. What is this value? Application/MS Word. This is basically called as a MIME type. Application/MS Word. This is a MIME type. So whichever file you want to download, and we have to specify the MIME type of that particular file. And this MIME type will be different from one file to another file. That means if you are downloading MS Word document, application/MS Word is a MIME type. And if you are downloading one text file, so txt dot application/txt is a application/text is a MIME type. Suppose if you are downloading PDF file, then application/PDF is a MIME type. So similarly, image files, Excel files, we can download different type of files, and accordingly we have to specify the MIME type of that particular file. This is the first preference. But how we will know the MIME type? You may have different type of files to download. Tomorrow you want to download Excel file, or you want to download an image file. But how we will know the MIME type? So I will give you one link here. So in that website, you can find MIME type links, all the links of MIME type links of MIME types of all the different files. So let me just share that link. I noted down somewhere. Just a moment. Just a moment. Okay, so this is a link. I'll put in a notepad. You guys can get it. Okay, so just open this website. You can find all the MIME types of different files. Okay, now you can just look at here. These are the file extensions, and these are the different MIME types. So if you want to check, suppose I want to download the Excel file. So I want to check the MIME type of the Excel file. So what you can do, Control F, and here just type .xls, the file extension. Now you can see different type of MIME types are there. You can use any one of them. Okay, these are MIME types of Excel. And suppose I want to download image file. I'll say .png is my extension. PNG is my extension. Now image/png is a MIME type of images. And suppose tomorrow if you want to download .txt file, I say .txt and text/plain. So this is a MIME type of text file. So you can just refer this website to know what are the MIME types are available for different file types. Okay, that is mandatorily required. This is the first preference we have to set to the Firefox options class object. Now, after that, there will be one more preference. Okay, so what is other preference? So other preference is we need to add options.set preference browser.download.manager.show when starting false. By default, this attribute value will be the true at the browser level. So here we are making it false. So once you make this property as a false, then that window will not appear on the browser. That window will not appear on the browser. That is, these are the only two settings we need to add to avoid that particular window. Okay, these are the only two settings which we need to add to avoid that particular window. But again, I want to download the file in the desired location, right? For that also we need to add some settings. So first let me try these two. Okay. And once you specify these two preferences, what is the next step we have to do is we need to add the options into this Firefox. So here I create options equal to OPS. We have to add this. So don't forget to pass this Firefox options object at the time of launching your browser. Now this is returning the driver finally. So these are the additional 3 settings which we need to add to avoid that particular window. Okay, and now let's go and call the function. So still I have not written any code to download the file in the desired location. Okay, so I will just add that later. So for now, let us test this code whether it's working fine or not. So I'm just calling the Firefox setup function and which will add everything. The setup will be done. Now rest of the code will be executed and it should download the file. Okay, now if I just look at here, in the downloads section, default location, I don't have any files. At the same time, in my day 22 also, I don't have any files. I'm just refreshing also here. So I don't have any files here. Okay, so now let us execute this code and see whether it's downloading or not. Okay, now it is launched my Firefox browser. Open the application URL, maximize, and now you can just look at, as soon as you click here, the file is got downloaded here. And where it is downloaded? It is downloaded in the default downloads location. It is not downloaded in the day 22 folder. Why? Because we have not specified yet where you want to download the file. We have not specified the desired location. That's the reason by default it is downloaded in the downloads location. So till now it is successfully working. So we successfully avoid that window, or we successfully skip that window, and we are able to download the file even on the Firefox browser. And what is the next step? Apart from these two preferences, we need to add three more preferences to download the file in our desired location. So what are other preferences required? So options dot, again, set preference, the next preference. And this preference is, I will show you this. This is the one. So let me tell you what is this preference. Browser.download.folder list. And this is a fixed value. And here we can pass either 0, or we can pass either 1, or we can pass 2. There is a meaning. So when you pass 0 here, the file will be downloaded on your desktop. By default, the file will be downloaded inside your desktop. If I pass 0 here, when you pass 1 here, the file will be downloaded in the default location. That is optional 1. Even if you're not specified this statement, by default, the files are downloaded in the download location, right? But if you specify 1, the file will be downloaded on the downloads location. This is a default location. If you specify 2 here, the file will be downloaded on the desired location. Whichever location you want to specify, in the next statement, we have to specify that location. And in that location, file will be downloaded. Remember these options. So here also I am writing 0 means a desktop, 1 means a downloads folder, 2 means a desired location. But when you say 2 here, in the next statement, we have to specify the location. How to specify the location? Again, by using options dot set preference. And here we need to specify a key called browser.download.dir, which is representing the location. And second parameter, we have to specify the location. So we already captured the location here, right? So that same variable I'm referring here. Sorry, here. Okay, remember this. So these two statements are interrelated. So if you want to download the file in your desktop, this statement is not required. Just say 0 here. That's it. If you want to download the file in your downloads folder, by default, you can say 1. That's it. You don't need to specify the statement. But if you want to download the file in your desired location, then specify the 2 along with this another statement. So here we have to specify the browser.download.dir location we have to specify. Okay, that's it. So these are the 2 additional preferences which we need to add. And these 2 are for ignoring the window at the time of downloading the files. And these 2 preferences are for downloading the file in the desired location. Downloading the file in the desired location. And anyway, we pass this options object here. So at the time of launching the Firefox, all these settings will be applied on the Firefox browser. Okay. Now I don't have any file in the day 22. Let me just execute the code and say whether it is downloading the file in the desired location or not. Okay, now it is downloaded here, but it should be downloaded on your desired location. So let's go back to PyChamp. And now you can just look at this day 22. You can see the file here. File is successfully downloaded on desired location. Okay, so the Firefox is little different, all the settings, but rest of them are exactly the same. So these are the additional settings which we need to add on the Firefox browser. And all together, this is one function, guys. Okay, so now whichever browser you want to use, you can just call the function, get the driver, and continue the rest of the code. So from now onward. So that's the reason I have created separate functions for that. Actually, this is an automation code. And before running this code, we need a driver. So from where we will get the driver? When calling the function, that will return the driver with all the settings, with all the applied settings. And we can just use the driver and continue with the rest of the code. Okay, so because 3 browsers I have covered here, so for each browser I created the different function. So when I use this Chrome setup, so your file will be downloaded on the Chrome, and when you call this function, then the file will be downloaded on the Edge browser. So when I call this Firefox function, then your file will be downloaded on the Firefox browser. So whichever browser you want to use, you can just call that particular function, get the driver, and use the rest of the code. So this is how we need to download the files in Chrome, Edge, and Firefox. And in the Firefox browser, especially, we have to specify the MIME types. This is mandatorily required. What kind of file you are downloading, you have to specify that. But in other 2 browsers, we don't need to specify that. There's one difference. And other difference is here we have created one dictionary variable, and that we directly again pass in the Edge options or Chrome options, and then we pass this options object into the driver. But here we directly created Firefox options class. Inside that object itself, we added all the preferences, and finally we specify these options here. And suppose if you forgot to pass this options variable here at the time of launching the browser, what will happen? All these settings will not applicable for your browser. Okay, so just remember this. So just try to understand the script. So practice it, and you can use the script later also. If you're not understood, no problem. You can have this script with you. And in future, if you have these kind of scenarios, you can just copy paste this and you can use it. It's very difficult to remember all the options at the beginner level, but it takes some time again. Okay, so this is how we need to download the files. Now I'll show you one more type of scenario. Now this time we'll try to download PDF file, because PDF is something different. Okay, now let me show you one more example, how to download the PDF file. Same thing, but slight changes will be there. I'll tell you the difference between Word file and PDF file, what is the difference and everything. So first, let me just close all these things. Okay, and go to the Chrome browser first. So I'm just opening this link, And in this link, you can see, again, these are all different PDF files. Now I'm just clicking on the first link and go to downloads first, and I'll deleting the Word file. Okay, so now let's click on the first link. Observe this, what happens when, as soon as you click on the link here, download PDF, file is just opening here, but it's not downloading. File is opening on the browser itself, but the file is not downloading here. And if you want to download the file again, what you need to do, we need to again click on this button, which will download the file. But again, this is not a web element. This is a part of the browser. We cannot do any actions on this element. Okay. And this is the problem. So as soon as you click on this link, instead of opening the file, I want to download it. That's my requirement. And the same thing will happen for Edge also, in Edge browser also. Let's go to Edge browser and try it. So when you click on this link, again, it is just opening the file, but it is not downloading. But my requirement is I just want to download the file instead of opening the file. Okay. Now, if you do the same thing again in the Firefox browser. So I'm just opening the Firefox browser. Now open the Firefox browser. Now you can just look at here. Okay. Now I'm just clicking on the button. So now observe this, what happens again, same thing. It is opening the file, but instead of downloading the file. But my requirement is I just want to download the file instead of opening the file. Okay, this is a small change for PDF file. So for that, we need to add again some more preferences. Okay, now let me show you one more example how to download the PDF file. And I will copy the same example and slight changes are there. I'll tell you what are the changes. So PDF file download. I'll say PDF file download. Okay, so open the script. Now, so what are the changes we can do on the Chrome browser? First of all, let us start with the Chrome browser, and we need to do also change the automation code, right? So because the URL of application and everything is got changed. So now I'll change the URL of application, and inside this URL, we need to click on the element. So let's go and click on the element. So this is the element, right? So let's right click, inspect that element. Get the XPath of the element. So copy this element XPath and paste it over here. I think it's the same XPath. Okay, so this same code almost. Fine. So now let us start with the Chrome. Okay, I'm commenting everything. I'm enabling the Chrome setup. So all Chrome settings will automate by default. All Chrome settings will be applicable. So same driver, same location, desired location, Chrome options, preferences, everything is same. Let's try to run this for now. Default setting with the default setting, and we'll see whether it's opening PDF file or not. So it is launched my Chrome browser, and as soon as you click on the link, it is just open the PDF instead of downloading the file. It's not downloaded, it is just open the file. But now what we need to do to download this particular file, we have to add some more preferences. So what are the preferences? Just copy the statement, add one more preference. So what is that preference which we need to add, especially for Chrome browser? That is just a moment. Okay, so we no need to add the preferences variables because dictionary object can hold multiple key value pairs, right? Dictionary variable, we can store collection of data because it's a collection type. So this is the one preference, comma, I can add one more preference. So what is that preference? The preference is plugins dot. Let me just copy it. So this is one more preference. So plugins dot always open PDF externally. We have to make it as a true. Okay. So this is the additional plugin. Just add only this particular plugin. That's it. Especially for PDF file. And then automatically PDF file will be downloaded instead of opening the file. So this is one preference which will download the file in the desired location. But I have added another preference here. So what is that? This is a key and this is a value. And this particular preference will download the file, will open the file, will automatically download the file instead of open the file. Okay. So this is only one preference which we need to add, nothing else. Let's execute now. So we have added this preference. Let's execute. Now this time the PDF file should be downloaded on your desired location instead of opening the file. Okay, now you can just look at this. So file is successfully downloaded, and where it is downloaded, we already specified the desired location. So you can just look at here, which is a PDF file. So you can see this is a PDF file which is downloaded. So this is the only additional setting we have just added to the Chrome browser. And now we'll see for the Edge browser. So Edge browser is also same thing. Let's copy this as it is and specify for Edge browser also. But in Edge browser, it will not work because there is an open bug is available from the Selenium. Okay, so let me just try it. So what happens? You can just disable this function and now call the Edge setup because we want to execute this script on the Edge browser. So now Edge function will be called and this will return the driver with all settings. Let's execute. So I already deleted my file here in day 22. So now it should download the file. But it is not working because there is an open bug available in Selenium itself. So now you can just look at it. So it is still opening the file. That means it is not taking that preference actually. It is not considering that preference which we have added. So here you can just add it, right? So this preference is not considered by the Edge browser. So that is the reason it is still opening the file instead of downloading the file. So this is a bug which is already there in Selenium. So they are working on it. Probably in the next two versions, maybe they will fix that bug. Okay, so I can just write it here. So you can just ignore for now. Okay, have open bug. Only this one only. Okay, only for PDF file. Rest of the files it will go as usual. No problem. Now let us see the Firefox browser. How it is going to work for Firefox browser. So instead of calling Edge browser, I will call the Firefox browser setup. So do we need to any additional settings on the Firefox? We will see that. So first of all, let us execute the code on the Firefox browser and then we will see. So whether it is opening or whether it is downloading file or not. And one more important thing, guys. So what kind of file we are downloading? Which type of file we are downloading? PDF file. And what is a MIME type is specified here? MS Word, right? We have to change it. So what is a MIME type of PDF file? That we need to check. So what is a MIME type of PDF file? Go to the website and go and check the MIME type of PDF. Control F dot PDF. So you can just look at it. This is the MIME type of PDF file. So that we have to specify. Don't forget this. This is the MIME type of PDF. Okay, and this is the only change for now. And let's execute this code by default. And we already call the Firefox setup method, execute it. Okay, now it is launching my browser, opening application URL. Okay, now it is just click on the element. Now it is still open the PDF. It is just open the PDF, but it is not downloaded. It is not downloaded. So for that, we need to add some additional preferences. So what are the additional preferences which we need to add on the Firefox browser? So for that, what we need to do is we have to add one additional preference, right? So what is the preference? So after specifying this, I can just add, you can add here also, no problem. So you can add anywhere. The preference is not a matter. You can just add anywhere. So what I will do is you can just add here also, no problem. So options dot set preference. Okay, so what is that preference is? So here specify just a moment. So when show starting, we already given the preferences and PDF is also given, false is also given, location is mentioned. Okay, and the only one preference which we need to add, that is PDF JS dot disabled true. Okay, PDF JS dot disabled true. So this is the only one preference which we need to add, PDF JS dot disabled true. Okay, so that's the only one preference and which we need to add only for PDF file. And as usual, we created Firefox option. All the preferences are the same. And additionally, we just added PDM.js dot disabled equal to true, and that's it. So we just pass the options object in the Firefox object and then fine. So let's try to execute now and see. So right click, execute. So this time the file should download instead of opening the file. And again, the file should be downloaded in the desired location. All right, so now you can just look at this. The file is successfully downloaded. And where you can see that inside the day 22, you can see the file here. So PDF file is downloaded. Okay, so this is the only additional preference which we need to add to download the file instead of opening the file. Okay, so these are the different preferences, guys. So now we successfully downloaded file, PDF file on Chrome browser, and Edge browser there is a open bug. So we can, for now, we can just ignore it. And in the Firefox also, we specified some additional setting, and it is just downloaded the file instead of opening the file. So this is all about how to download PDF file. And especially for Firefox, you have to take care of few things. And especially MIME type, you have to take care. And then desired location is something different settings we need to add. And for PDF file, especially we need to add this statement. Okay, so it is difficult to remember all kinds of preferences, guys. So you can just have this code with you in future. If there is any requirement like this, then you can just use this code in future. Okay, in your future projects. So that's what I can recommend this. So with this, we have done how to download files in the different browsers. So browser to browser settings will be different, but most of the times we use either Chrome browser or Edge browser. And even Firefox browser requirement is also very less. But if you have a browser, Firefox browser requirement, then you have to do all these things. It is something different. Okay. So with this, we have done how to download the files. Now I'll show you another scenario, how to upload the file. It is more simpler than download file. It's straightforward. So how to upload files. How to upload files. So let me take an example. So how to upload files is exactly the same for every browser. So there is no difference from one browser to another browser. Every browser is exactly the same. Now I'll show you how to upload the file scenario. Okay, so let me just take this application. So monsterindia.com. You can take any other website where the upload file scenario is available. So if I just look at this, this is my website. You can just see one button here, upload resume, right? When you click on this, which will open this window, and here we have to upload the file. Okay, here we have to upload the file. So there is a drag and drop is there, but we cannot directly drag and drop the file from your Windows. So Windows is a desktop application, right? So from there, here you cannot drag and drop through automation. So if I just click on the button, it will open the window. So here we have to browse the file, whichever the image you want to browse. But again, this window, we cannot directly handle it because this is a window-based application. So the only way is by using send keys method, we can directly pass the file here. We can directly upload the file by using send keys method. Now let me show you, go back to the code and create another file, upload file. Okay, so inside this, I'm just creating few steps. So imported the time module, Webdriver, service, and by everything. So here specify the Chrome driver path and service you pass at the Chrome, and then driver.get, specify the URL of application, and then driver.maximize window. So first of all, we need to click on this element, then you will get that window, upload window. So inspect this element and then get the XPath of this element. This is the XPath which is given, right? This is the XPath which is given. Copy this. or if you want, you can write your own XPath. So class attribute is available, right? So let me take the class instead of normalized place. I say class. Okay, at the rate class equal to specify the class. So this is also finding the element. So capture this element and find that element. Driver dot find element by dot XPath, specify that XPath and dot click. So which will actually open the upload window. So as soon as you get this window, so now again here we have to pass the value. So when you try to inspect this window, you can see the input tag. So what is input tag is representing? Input tag is simply representing a text box. So if it is a text box, we can directly pass the value by using send keys method. Now let us get the XPath of this input. And if I just look at this input, this is a box, right? Let me highlight this element one more time. Okay, input is a tag, and here there is ID is there. So by using this ID, I'm just going to write my own XPath / input, and at the rate ID, say ID. So now two elements are matching. So, but we need only one element. Basically, it is matching with the two elements. And do we have any other attribute? So type is there. Okay, let's try to use type also. And at the rate type equal to file. So 0 element it is say. Yeah, okay, sorry. I need to put in the double quotation like this. Again, still it is showing two elements. So instead of doing this, let's go with the XPath which is given by this, or you can just right click copy XPath. So this is the XPath which is given. So let me try to use. Okay, still it is pointing to two elements because that's the first element. Because we use anyway find element method that will capture the first element on the web page. Fine. I think this the same upload option is provided somewhere in the same web page. So that's the reason two elements are matching, but still fine. So we can just continue. So driver dot find element by dot XPath and specify that XPath here. And as soon as you get this element, so what we need to do now, we need to just pass the value. Single quotation is required. Single quotation and just close it and then send keys dot send keys. And here we have to specify the location of the file which we are going to upload. So let me just get one file. So in the C drive, I have one file here. Let's go to Selenium practice. Inside this, I have some sample file. So sample.pdf is there. So I just want to upload this file. So for that, what I can do is just specify the location of the file directly here / and the name of the file is sample.pdf that I'm going to specify. Okay, that's it. And then over. So just click on the button which will open another window. So where identify this element and just send keys, pass the location of the file. That's it. So this particular statement will automatically upload the file. Let's execute and see. But when you use Java, so there we have again SQL, Auto IT, and robot class. Multiple options are there, but in Python we don't have such options. So only this is the option we have to use. Now you can just look at here. Sample.pdf is already uploaded. You can just see the name here. Once the file is successfully uploaded, you can see the name here. Okay. So this is how we can just upload the file. So wherever you can see that element, you can just get that element and pass the send keys, and which will automatically upload the file. So it is simple scenario, guys. And most of the times that's an input element. This is an input box, but you cannot inspect individual elements inside this. And as soon as you inspect, the whole element will be selected and you can see the input tag, so that you can directly use send keys method by passing the value in it, and the file path you have to specify, and that will automatically upload it. So simple example. So like this, we can just upload the file. Okay. So this is the concept of file download and file upload. Okay. And most of the times, even in the real-time projects also,
Selenium guys are not recommended to automate file download scenarios. Okay, so we can still do that, but they are not recommended because there are so many settings are there, and even the scenario is not at all consistent most of the times. And again, if you download the files and again you have to maintain the files in one place, again you have to validate those files, so a lot of things are there. So instead of doing that, it is better to do some manual testing on those type of scenarios instead of automating that scenarios, especially file upload and file download. And Selenium is not recommended to automate these two types of scenarios most of the times. Okay, so just practice these things, and I'll give you one assignment. You guys can try this. Sorry, my keyboard is not properly working. Okay, so the first assignment is on the same website, file download website. You can see so many other links. You can just try all the stuff. Okay, let me just give the links. Okay, so just go to the website. And you can see sample documents, sample images. Go to sample image. You can also download image files and take the small size image. But if I take the huge size image, again, it takes a lot of time. And if I just go to other file, there are different files are there. You can see zip file, HTML file, JSON file. You can just try to download any of the file, and that is up to you which file you want to download. So you can just go to sample image file. You can try. So I just give in the link. Download file. Okay, and the second assignment is upload file. Upload file. I'll show you scenario where you have to upload the file. So let's go to Orange HRM application, Orange demo application. Okay, so in this, first of all, you need to log into application. Admin 123. Click on the login. And here, just go to PIM and then add employee. So inside add employee, you can see photograph. So here you have to attach the photograph. So here it will allow only this type of data. You can just look at .jpg file you can accept, you can upload .png, .gif. Only these three formats are allowed. And that file size should be up to 1 MB it is allowed. So just follow the restrictions accordingly, have some image files and try to upload. Okay, so let me just add one file. So just choose file, Selenium, C drive, Selenium practice. I have some files. I'm just trying to upload it. So I have some profile pic. I'm just uploading it here. So after upload is done, so you can see this one, the file name you can see. But again, you have to use only send keys method. So try to find this element like this. Inspect this element. So you can see the input box again. So find this element, write an XPath for this element, dot send keys of, specify the location of the file along with the name of the file. And then automatically the file will be uploaded here. Okay, so this is one more scenario. So this is Orange HRM application. So what is the navigation? So as soon as you log in into this, first login, and then go to PIM tab. Inside this, add employee, and then you will see this window directly. So here you need to upload photograph. Upload photograph. Okay, so just try these two assignments based on today's topics, and in the next class we will see few more concepts. Okay, so I'm just stopping here. If you have any questions, we will discuss.